Tales with Vaughn.
My daughter ignored my call for help. Now she's crying on my stairs after her husband lost $300,000 gambling and I locked them out of my will forever. Hello, I'm William. I'm 77 today, but this began when I was 73. I live in Kansas. It used to be Topeka. Now I'm somewhere else. It doesn't matter yet. I had no intention of writing this, but the way things turned out has kept it in my head for far too long. Maybe if I speak it aloud and write it down, I won't wake up at 3 a.m. thinking about that phone call. So here it is. In 2018, I lost my wife Olivia. Breast cancer. Fast and violent. 44 years of marriage. She died at home while holding my hand. Following that, everything became quiet. Not calm stillness, but empty and too quiet. I did okay for the first year. I took care of the house, kept the yard up, paid the bills, and went to the VFW on Fridays. I talked to the neighbors every now and then, but my hands started giving me problems, arthritis, and my eyes, particularly at night, were not as good as they once were. One morning I hit a mailbox while backing out. That terrified me. The next day I hid the keys in a drawer and never touched them again. That's when things got difficult. I reside out in the countryside. The closest grocery shop is 20 minutes away. There are no buses or Ubers in this area, and calling a cab requires a 3-hour wait and a $50 fee. So I thought, okay, maybe it's time to relocate. Nothing spectacular, just something modest. Perhaps an apartment near my daughter Arya. Arya is my only child. She lives in Overland Park, 3 hours east. Married to a man named Mark. 2 kids, a big house. She's a school counselor. He works in finance, insurance, or something. He's constantly talking about deals and getaways. We weren't very close, but we did chat about holidays, birthdays, and random check-ins. After Olivia died, Arya came to spend 2 weekends with me. I helped pack some goods. We sobbed a little. Then life went on anyway. I assumed I'd phone her and tell her I was thinking about relocating closer, not among them but close by. I thought we could go over some places together. I was hoping she would be pleased with it. I waited till Sunday mid-afternoon. I knew she was generally around the house and doing laundry at that time. She responded slightly out of breath, "Hey Dad. Everything okay?" "Yeah, I'm all right. Just wanted to run something by you." "Sure. What's up?" I informed her that I was no longer driving, that things were becoming difficult for me alone, and that I was considering selling the house and moving closer to her. She did not respond right away. Then in the background I heard her husband Mark, as if he were standing next to me, "We're not running an elderly hostel, Arya. He can figure it out." My heart truly paused for a second. I waited for her to tell him off. Say something. Defend me. She did not. Instead she exhaled. Then in a low voice, "We're really busy right now, Dad. The kids. Mark's work. I don't think we can deal with this." Deal with this? As if I were a load of laundry or an auto repair. I did not become angry. I did not yell. I just sat there holding my phone. I gazed around the room at my former house, the wall Olivia painted and the couch she chose. Everything suddenly felt strange. "I understand," I replied. "Thanks anyway." So I hung up. The following morning I called a real estate agent. "Hi," I said. "I'm thinking of selling. Can you come by?" Tammy came over on Thursday, early 40s, professional, did not ask too many questions. We walked around the property. She said it was in wonderful shape and would sell quickly. She was correct. Within 4 weeks I had a buyer, a retired couple moving up from Texas to be closer to their son. They paid cash. I didn't inform Arya that I sold. Why should I? I was tired of trying to stay in someone's life when I wasn't wanted. I discovered a tiny 1-bedroom condominium in Lawrence. Good neighborhood, accessible to doctors and a food shop just a block away. Everything I needed. Then I called my lawyer. I had a will. I've had it for several years. Everything used to go to Arya, including the house, savings, truck, and insurance. But after that call I started to think. She had already made her decision. So I made mine. I asked my lawyer to modify everything. Half of my estate would go to a local veterans organization that developed houses for senior veterans. The other half goes to a senior program in Topeka that assists people like me, those who have no one. What about the truck? I hadn't worked that out yet. About a year has gone by. Life was calm but lovely. I met several pals at the senior center. There was Carol, a nice widow like me. Tyler, her grandson, once helped me fix a leaky sink. Good child. Even though I didn't ask, they came over to check on me. Then one night I suffered a stroke. I can't recall much. I woke up in the hospital with a nurse flashing a light into my eyes. They claimed it was mild. We caught it early. Nonetheless, it scared me. Made me consider how quickly things can change. I stayed in the recovery center for 2 weeks. When I got out, I did something I hadn't done in more than a year. I phoned Arya. She picked up. I told her what happened. I had a stroke but was well now. I just wanted you to know. She remained quiet for a long time. Then she asked, "Why didn't you call me sooner?" I didn't say what I wanted to say because she had already made it plain where I stood. Instead I said, "You were busy." I told her one more thing. I changed my will, Arya. It doesn't go to you anymore. The stillness on the line was heavy. You what? She asked. I've got people helping me here. People who didn't treat me like a burden. That's who's getting what I have. She began crying. Real tears. I didn't feel satisfied. I did not feel unkind. I didn't feel anything. Just exhausted. She returned to see me 2 weeks later. She brought flowers, sat next to me, and apologized a lot. "Dad, I didn't know how to say no to Mark." I nodded but did not say much. She left after 20 minutes. It was the last time I saw her. I still get calls from time to time. She leaves voicemail messages. I listen to them but do not call back. I'm not finished with the story yet because what I did next, what I planned, well,
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.
Things settled back down after Arya's visit. I returned to my regimen, which included doctor's appointments, breakfast at the same cafe, and Wednesday trips to the senior center. Carol continued to check on me. Her grandson Tyler began driving me to appointments. He rejected gas money. I just said, "You remind me of my granddad." I was healing physically. Mentally, however, I was carrying weight. Not quite hate but rather something incomplete. 3 months have gone by. Then came the letter. It came from Mark. Typed, not even handwritten. "William, I think there's been a misunderstanding. We'd like to revisit the will. Arya was very emotional during your last conversation and I believe she may not have expressed herself clearly. We've always cared about your well-being. Let's meet for dinner sometime and talk about how to move forward as a family." There is no apology or ownership, only corporate sounding. I didn't respond. 2 weeks later Arya called. I responded this time. "Dad," she whispered. "Please." Mark was out of line before. "I know that but we're trying. The kids want to see you." That part made my chest ache slightly. I hadn't seen my grandchildren in nearly 2 years. I didn't say no and I didn't say yes. She tried again. "We were thinking maybe you could move into one of those assisted living places near us. We could visit on weekends." I nearly laughed. They wouldn't let me live near them before, but now that they smelled money they were willing to place me somewhere close, as long as they didn't have to deal with me themselves. I said, "I'll think about it." But what I did next was phone my lawyer again. "Can we make the estate even tighter?" I said. "Bulletproof it." He answered, "Yes. We rebuilt it so tightly that not even a team of hungry sharks could get through it." I gave Tyler my truck. "Not in the will. Just signed the title over." "Are you serious?" he asked, his eyes wide. "Dead serious," I informed him. "You've done more for me in 6 months than some people have in a lifetime." Carol found out and wanted to send me a casserole as a thank you. I told her she could express her gratitude by allowing me to teach her how to play poker next Thursday. Then another twist happened. I was in my apartment when I received a call from the front desk. A woman was below and asked to come up. She did not provide her name. I told them no. 2 hours later I had a knock on my door. It was Arya. No makeup and hair pulled back. It looked like she hadn't slept. "I'm sorry," she murmured the moment I answered the door. "I should have never let him talk to you that way." She walked inside without waiting. "Dad, I'm scared. We're in trouble. Mark lost a lot of money on some deals. He won't admit it, but I think he's close to bankruptcy." There it was. The actual cause. She attempted to hug me. I did not move. "I'm not here for the money," she muttered. "I swear. I messed up." I sat down. "Let her speak," she cried. "They told me about how their house was underwater. Mark had been gambling." "Yes, gambling. And attempting to conceal it behind investment losses." "How much did he lose?" I inquired. "Over $300,000. I let out a low whistle. She flinched. I did not say anything for a while. I just stared at the television. It was not on. "Did you come here to ask me for help?" I inquired. She looked away. "No," she replied. "Not exactly." I nodded, got up, went to the kitchen and poured myself some water. "Arya," I responded, "I spent my whole life protecting you, giving you everything I had. When I needed help, all I asked was to be near you, not to live with you, not to borrow money, just to not be so alone." She began crying again. I did not stop her. "I don't know if I'll forgive you," I told her. "Not yet. Maybe not ever." "I know," she whispered. Then she departed. The following morning Mark called. I didn't respond. He left a voicemail. He said he wanted to clarify the air. 2 days after that I learned something new. Mark was attempting to contact my lawyer. He really went up to the firm's office and requested a meeting to discuss family adjustments. The receptionist shut him down. My lawyer phoned me right away. "You were right to lock this down," he told me. And now I knew for certain this was not about guilt. It was about greed. But I wasn't finished yet. I had one more idea, one more move, and it would ensure they never saw a penny, but they would realize what they had lost. 2 weeks after Arya's visit I had a tap at my door. It was Carol. She had a troubled expression. "You might want to sit down," she said. "I just ran into your daughter at the pharmacy." I raised an eyebrow. What was she doing here? "She was asking the pharmacist about your prescriptions." That struck me wrong. I never told Arya the name of my drugstore. I never told her anything about my medications. She had not paid me a single visit while I was recovering from the stroke. So why was she now concerned about my prescriptions? She said she was checking for dangerous interactions in your meds, but she wasn't subtle. It sounded more like she was digging for information. I thanked Carol and sat with it for the remainder of the afternoon. Around 6 p.m. I called my pharmacy and asked them to place a privacy lock on my file. I also gave them a list of people who were not to receive any information about me under any circumstances. Arya and Mark were at the top of the list. The next day I received a call from the building manager. He stated that someone had attempted to interview him in the lobby about my health, whether I had visitors and whether I had any relatives registered in case of emergency. Didn't give her any info, he shared with me. "But I thought you should know. They were circling not because they missed me but because they hoped I'd die and leave the vault open. What they didn't realize is that I wasn't just locking it. I was turning the damn thing into a minefield." That week I met with my lawyer again. I asked him what the legal alternatives were for leaving a video statement as part of my estate's execution. He smiled and remarked, "Very possible. We got everything set up." We recorded it in his office. One take, no script, just me looking at the camera. I did not yell or insult. I just lay it all out. What happened when I asked for help, what I heard Mark say in the background, what Arya didn't say, what happened next and why I took those decisions. Then I said this: if you're watching this, it means I've left and it's too late to pretend. You had the opportunity to be my daughter when I needed her, but instead you let your husband treat me like an old stray dog and turned your back. That's why you're receiving nothing. No money, no assets, no second chances. The people who came through for me when it mattered, that's where it all went. You'll get a letter, and that's all. I leaned forward, glanced at the camera and said, next time someone asks you for help, I hope you think about this moment. I hope it sticks. 1 month later I received a parcel from an unknown sender. Inside was a slick flyer for a fake-looking wellness center in Overland Park, private elder care. Monthly rates are in the 5 figures. Nice logo. Excellent images. A leaflet that appeared more like a country club advertisement than a care facility. Tucked within was a handwritten note: if you're still seeking, this could be a nice fit. We would help with the deposit. Mark and Arya. They didn't even sign it. Love, just names. I did not respond. Instead I made an additional move. I called a local journalist who writes a short column about elder care, family estrangement and end-of-life planning. I told him my entire tale. I didn't mention the names, but I did tell him about the town, the specifics, and what I did with my estate. He turned it into a post called, "What My Daughter Taught Me About Dying Alone and Living on My Terms." It gained steam, got picked up on Facebook, shared hundreds of times. The senior center displayed it on their wall. The veterans group made duplicates for their waiting room. Tyler stopped by and said, "Sir, you kind of went viral." I just nodded. A week later I received a voicemail from Arya. Her voice was shaking. "Dad. I read the article. Someone forwarded it to me. I didn't know you were going to do something like that. This told me everything." She was not sad I had lived it. She was upset that others knew about it. "I just want to talk," she explained. "Please call me back." I did not, because I wasn't finished yet. I had one final surprise planned, something she didn't see coming. Not only for her but also for Mark. And once everything was in motion, they would know exactly how it felt to be viewed as a problem. I began receiving letters about a month after the piece went viral. I also have emails, albeit I don't use them very often, messages from strangers, some senior people, some are younger. "Thank you for speaking the truth, for speaking up when nobody else would." One mom reported that her daughter stopped phoning her after her first heart surgery. Another dad claimed his kid simply came to inquire about inheritance. It dawned on me how many people go through the same experience I did, forgotten, pushed off and used. That's when I made my last move. See, I never informed Arya about the foundation. After I amended my will, I began working on something with my lawyer and a buddy from the senior center who used to be a nonprofit accountant. We established the Olivia Home Fund, named after my late wife. It's a private charitable trust established to help elderly persons who have been abandoned by their families. We made it public only a few months ago. The local press grabbed it up. Several radio stations called to ask if I would conduct an interview. I kept it quiet until everything was finished. The kicker: we mentioned Mark and Arya by name in the founding tale, not to humiliate but to explain why this faith was necessary. We told the truth. They did not take it well. Arya arrived at my door a week later. I could hear her crying before I opened the door. "Dad, please, please, I'm pleading with you. Mark has lost his job. They're after the house and we're drowning. The youngsters, they don't comprehend what's going on. They believe you're furious with them. That one stings. I adored my grandchildren. But I was not going to let guilt drag me back into the flames." "Why are you here now?" I inquired. She looked up, her eyes crimson. "Because we have nowhere else to go." I nodded slowly. I opened the door wider, not to let her in but to show her how I appeared now, thinner, slower, and still standing. "You had someone once," I explained. "But when I asked to be near you, you turned away. Now you want to be near me because of what I have." She lowered her face into her hands. "I'm sorry," she muttered. "I believe you," I responded. "But that doesn't change the damage." Then I told her something that required every ounce of fortitude I had. I'm giving one last donation. It's already been approved. A $200,000 grant to a local program that helps single mothers take care of their elderly parents. Her head jolted upwards. Wait, what? Not for you, I replied. It's for women who did what you didn't. Women who made room. She broke right there on the stairs. I allowed her to cry, but I did not soothe her, because it was no longer my mission to save her. My job was to protect the men I'd left to become. The fallout occurred quickly. Mark filed for bankruptcy, which I discovered through local court documents. They are public. Their residence was slated for foreclosure. Arya had to move in with her in-laws, whom she had always described as domineering and cold. I don't rejoice in their anguish, but I don't feel awful either. They were never intended to be punished. They were supposed to learn, and they did. I received a card from my granddaughter Isabella 6 months later. Only a drawing and a note. Mom thinks you're mad. I miss you. That was the only thing that broke me. I keep the card in my drawer. Perhaps one day I'll contact her directly. Maybe. But not yet, because the truth is I am still mending. Tyler makes weekly visits. We work on ancient radios in the garage that I rent near my condominium. Carol provides soup when my knees ache. Olivia and I were honored when a wing of the veterans' new housing project was named after us. My daughter and her spouse lost my money. I discovered tranquility. That was the trade. And if I had to do it again, I would have contacted the realtor sooner.
Like and subscribe, nigga, or I will switch you down.